Hey guys, man, I'm really supposed to be going into Flint to get my meds, my psych meds. See, the problem is this, and rather than do that, that's not very fun. I wanted to do something fun, and so I figured I'd make a video. I'll try to make it short. Excuse me. I've got a comment or two, a mention of some American CW slang, and some tips. Only 4 tips. Hang on, I gotta clear my throat. Okay, and lastly, I've got a story that I'll call The Old Fart and the Phone. Okay, before I start, I've got to mention something, man. Um, I wasn't disparaging MFJ's paddles. I know I was pretty critical of him in that video I did, but I also did mention that I'd have no problem taking him with me on vacation or field day, you know what I mean? I even demonstrated how you can whack them around and they don't fly apart if you adjust them right. And I mentioned that once adjusted, at least my paddles, mine have been rock steady, rock stable, man. I don't think the spacing or anything has changed in 5 years, not since moving home to Michigan anyway. And good paddle for the money, especially given what some of these maniacs are charging for nicer paddles these days. You know, if you think I'm spending $400 or $500 for paddles, you're nuts. If you got the money, go for it. If that's what turns you on, do it, man. Well, you know what I mean. But I don't have the money. I could make the money. I could save it up, or sacrifice a little bit here and there in other ways. And I'm not destitute. But I'd never. It's not that important to me. Okay. Having got that out of the way, you know what? Some of the comments I've been really bad about replying to comments lately, because when I struggle, that's what I do. And then the farther I get behind in the comments, the more afraid I am to approach them. It's weird. That's the dynamic that's happening here. But I finally got to addressing some of the comments to my last 3 or 4 videos. And a couple of you fellows mentioned that one fellow saw, I'm not going to say your name, you saw the paddle on my bench and thought, well, if Chuck uses it, it's got to be good enough. And he went and bought it, and that type of thing. I never in a million years expected anything like that to happen. I try to make the channel fun by being really humble and silly at times, oftentimes. That's my shtick, I guess, if you will. But the humbleness and humility it's both my shtick on the channel and it's genuine. You know, and I never in a million years saw anybody taking my equipment or my comments for anything more than lighthearted entertainment, you know. And I can't tell you how that makes me feel. Oh my God. And a hint for you guys, I've repeatedly tried to poke you guys into making some videos and posting them, and I'd share them, the links to them on my channel if you wished and such. Well, I guess this is another lesson in that series of videos of mine. Come on, guys, make a video series type of thing. People might take your stuff seriously, and they might, you know, newer hams or just any ham. They might think, well, he's got this radio. It must be pretty good. I think I'll buy one. You know, to those who post silly garbage, in my case, I'm just tossing fresh garbage on top of the heap at the landfill. You think about that. Think about that. from time to time. Okay, now said. I have a question for you guys. Everybody's heard them. You know what I'm talking about. The band swoopers. Let me give you something else to look at. Is that in your face? Everybody's heard them. Band swoopers. You'll be listening just to anything, and you'll hear them. You, and they're gone, and then they might come back. Whoop. You know, sometimes they'll make repeated passes in the same direction. You'll hear them just screaming past you. You, and then a second later, you. You know what I mean? The band swoopers. What do you guys think, man? Let's see which way to pinch. Oh, Charlie. Wrong. Oh. Do you think they're doing it for entertainment? To entertain those of us? Sometimes you'll be sitting on the band and it'll be dead, right? Can't find a cue so for the life of you. And then you start thinking, yeah, dang, band's dead. Duh, the band's dead. Except it's not, because a second later, you S9 Plus, you know what I mean? It's like, dang, man. It's like, yeah, the band swoopers are out. Do you guys think they're doing it for entertainment, to entertain us? Or maybe to annoy us? Or maybe it's just what they do. You and I have nothing to do with it. It's just what they do. They swoop bands. Do you think they're tuning up something? Looking at SWR response as they swoop up the band? Yeah, I hated to mention that one because I've done that. Anyway, maybe they're not human. Maybe they're aliens. Okay, enough of that. A little bit of CW slang. I've heard this quite a bit, and I honestly don't care for it, but that's just my opinion, man. You know what I mean? And you got to evolve. If language evolves greatly, if you're an American and you listen to somebody speaking back in the early 1800s, you wouldn't be able to, you could understand them, but half of what they said would confound you. You know, our language evolves, and so does CW. And I've heard a lot of people, a lot of times, how I end my cue. So am I zoomed all the way out? Let's see. Yeah, there we go. I've got my rig break-in function turned off and my monitor function turned on. I've issued a speed command. My keyer tells me that's 15 word per minute characters. And I've turned it down for you guys that are a little slower. The slang is when instead of sending a K, you know, here, I'm going to send DE and then my call sign, N8 and K, and then a K. I'm going to space it out too. Well, I can't send it, so I'm just going to send my call, then the letter K. That's how half the hands would turn it over to you when it's your turn to go, when he's done talking. Others will send, just a K. But what's come into common use is the way spaced out da dit da. I'll send DE, then my call sign, then the spaced out da dit da. Which really is a TET. And it doesn't sound that noticeable until you get up a little faster. This is about 18 word per minute characters. Is it? Let's see. Sorry about the screen refresh. I can see it doing it down there. 19. Let's try this. I'm on 18. Dang, Kier. 17. Really, Kier? 18 word per minute characters. That slang da, dit, da is more noticeable at this speed. Wow, boy. You know what? My speed ability, my speed processing changes greatly from day to day now after the TIA, the mini stroke I had. Most days sound the same. Things are starting to, I'm starting to compensate. But other days like this is one of those days when I could copy 40. You know what I mean? And 20 sounds grindingly slow, as does this. I'm having trouble sending this speed. Okay, the da, dit, da. I'm going to send DE, N8, NK, da, dit, da. I hear that a lot instead of the K. You know, instead of this, you get oh man, I'm sorry. CW just man, it does something for me, man. I love CW. Okay. Oh my God. Let's see. Okay, now for some tips. I'm gonna pause you. Hang on. Okay. God, I babble. 12 minutes in. We're starting our tips now. Okay. Retuning. You're a new CW op. Let's say you're a newer CW op. And let's say you're calling a CQ. You get a reply. Okay? You called and called CQ, and finally someone's coming back to you, but he's a little off frequency. He on a rig like mine, on a modern rig, I guess I should say, you've got with a DSP filter. You want to hit the filter's center. You know what I mean? Which on this Yaesu is indicated by that little red dot there. This is a tuning indicator that you can turn on or off if you don't like them. But so you want the guy's signal to be peaked, right? In the passband of your filter. But let's say you're sitting on that frequency you see, and you hear a guy reply to your CQ, but he's a little off frequency. Should you change your frequency to match his? I say no. No. You called CQ on that frequency, and that's your frequency. You stay put, man. Same thing happens, and the solution's easy. And the same advice applies if you're in the middle of a CQ. And let's say he drifts or he bumped his knob or something. Oh, man. What should you do? Don't retune to him. Because let's say he's drifting. Let's say he's not even aware of it. He's got an older rig and it's analog and he's drifting. You know what you'll end up doing? If you keep retuning him, you'll start hopscotching across the band. You know what I mean? You two will start clawing your way across the band. What you should do, the answer is simple. This shows my RIT frequency. The answer is simple. Just turn on your receive RIT and tune the guy in. Keep, if he's drifting, just keep bumping your RIT knob as needed to tune him in. That way your transmit frequency stays the same and you don't hopscotch up the band. Okay, next tip. I've mentioned this before in a video once. I've mentioned it in the comments once or twice. But man, if you're real new to CW and your speed is really slow, a QRP club I belong to, the NAQCC, they have QRS nets every night. They have I think every night or several times a week. And this advice is only for American hams, I guess. You're not, if a European ham can copy an American QRP QRS net, it's possible. But anyway, NAQCC QRS nets. That's why they're there. That's their sole purpose. Slow speed CW practice for newer ops. And yeah, check it out. NAQCC. Google it. And one thing about those QRS nets, not only do you get to practice your speed, you get to practice your nerves. Working out some of the darn nerves. You know what I mean? If you're not a nervous wreck when you're operating your first few CW contacts, I'd be shocked. I remember those days. Jesus, I was 15, 14, 15. Oh my God. Oh my God. I think I'd rather have touched a girl, you know? And at that age, I didn't. Girls are not on the radars yet, anyway. Anyway, okay, next tip. Calling CQ versus answering CQs. Now, I'm talking about the ultra noob. You are the ultra noob, okay? And I'm not saying your first contact. You know, you've got a couple dozen contacts under your belt, and you're feeling a little more confident. You know, but if you're scared to death, you know what I suggest? Instead of calling CQ, answer them. When you call CQ, if you're calling CQ and I reply, you know, Joe Blow, DE-N8NK, hoping to contact Joe Blow, he can ignore me. He can pretend he doesn't hear me, or he doesn't have to come back to me. So the noob calling CQ is kind of off the hook. I say answer CQs. Now and then, you don't have to always, but make a practice of it, man. And if it's your first CW QSO, do so. Answer a CQ. Because if I'm calling CQ and you answer me with your slow ass CW, and I say, yeah, I think, yeah, oh man, cool, I'm gonna work this fellow. Help him with his code. Give him some practice. Have us a QSO. You know? And when I have a QSO with you, man, I don't want just a signal report. Don't feel like you can give me a 599 and a 73. No, man. You want to practice your CW? I'll sit. I'm in it I'm in it to win it with you, man. I'm in it for the long haul. You know what I mean? We're playing the big game here, man. Ooh, I almost dropped an F-bomb. I want to. You tell me all about your stuff and your radio and your antennas and your dog and your cats and stuff, man. I don't care if you are clawing along at 5 words a minute. I'll sit and copy you all afternoon. All right? And there's a lot of others like me. Anyway, let's say you're calling CQ and I reply to you. Now then, no. Anyway, yeah. If I'm calling CQ and you reply to me and then I come back to you, you're in it. You're in a QSO now. You can't just avoid me or pretend you don't hear me. Well, I guess you could, but you're actively in a QSO now. And, yeah. So, answer CQs now and then. Answer CQs, man. And also, that kind of puts the other guy on the spot. If he's calling CQ and you answer him with your ultra low, slow CW, kind of puts him on the spot. You know what I mean? Yeah, right on. Better he be put on the spot than a noob. Straight key characteristics. So you're going to learn on a J38. Okay? Let's say you've decided, yeah, you want to learn on a straight key. Okay, cool. Your fist isn't very good. You can't seem to work perfect machine codes with 3-to-1 timing and perfect timing between characters and all that. Good. Please don't try to. Please try to send something that sounds acceptable and understandable. And believe me, man, if you can understand it, so can we. Well, more than likely. What I'm talking about is You sound unique. You sound unique, man. Oh, it's still programmed from ICQ. Yeah, I wish, I don't need to demonstrate. But yeah, your non-perfect timing and all that, everybody sounds a little different. And as long as you sound good enough to be, pleasantly copyable, don't try to sound like a machine. Please don't. Please don't try to sound like the ARRL code practice sessions and such, because that's computer generated perfect code. You don't want to sound like that, man. The less you sound like that. Oh, I think I gave you the finger. Sorry. I'm telling you, man. I could have moved my birthday envelope. Look what's inside, man. Got some stinky green from my sister. Oh, boy, that money sidetracked me real quick. You don't sound like a computer. Thank God. Please don't try to. The more unique you sound, the easier you'll be to remember. You'll sound memorable, and the easier to work you'll be. And yeah, the more people will gravitate toward you. You got a nice, unique fist, man. It's like a magnet. You know, us old Bart CW ops are the metal shavings, and you're the magnet. And so, okay, finally, I'm not gonna pause you. It's it's much more exciting when I bring you with me. And God, the old shit pile gets deep at times, doesn't it, guys? And okay, man. I had to laugh about an hour ago. I was listening to the bands. I was listening to 20 meter sideband. I was listening to this old guy, man. There was only two signals on the whole band. I found this old guy, and he was pretty heavy on the key. I mean, he was a pretty long-winded old gas bag. And so he's keyed down, and he's talking away, and then you hear an old-fashioned phone ring in the background. And it sounded like something out of the 50s. And you hear the old man, "Hey, damn phone, I wish people would stop calling me." And then the phone stops ringing. About 2 minutes later, it rings again. And he got real upset. "Hey, goddamn phone, what's wrong with people anymore? They know the afternoons are for my radio." And it perturbed him, man. And just a few minutes later, it rings again, and he went off. That goddamn telephone! I'm gonna do something about it this time. And you hear the sound. I mean, he dropped his mic. You hear the sound, and it wasn't very good. You hear a chair. And a minute later, the old man sits down. The angry old fart sits down. "Yeah, boy, I'm sorry about the language. I just don't like telephones. Yeah, I hope the FCC doesn't issue me a citation. I'm not proud of this." Oh, man. Oh, man, it was so... Oh, I needed my phone. So I needed my phone, my camera, because this guy was just a grin. Just a grin. I bet he was like 130 years old. I'm sorry about the 24-minute and 35-second long video. I'm going to cut it quick. I'm calling it. I babbled long enough. I hope you're well. 73, guys.